Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone's staying safe. Today's video, I thought I would do something a little bit different to what I've been doing normally. When I first started these YouTube videos, my intention was always to do makeup related videos. I don't know if many of you who watch my videos will know this, but I do actually do makeup on the side of my full-time job. So MUA, whatever you want to say. I'm having a chat with like some of my closer friends for a little bit of inspiration on what to actually film on YouTube. And a lot of them said that they really wish there was more videos out there about how to do trend makeup and more basic makeup from someone who can explain it in a simple way. So today is going to be a video on how to make your face look lifted with makeup, so a facelift with makeup, if you will. I wanted to do a really simple version of that tutorial for people who are maybe beginners. So if that sounds like something that you've been looking for or something that you're interested in, all you've got to do is keep on watching. I feel like the most important step in lifting makeup is the eye area, and the easiest way to make your eyes look lifted is to alter the shape of your brow. So the higher you can make the arch of your brow look and the straighter you can make the tail of your brow look, the better. That will give you the better lift on the outside corners. I really think the best way to do this is to use a soap brow technique, brushed up brow kind of look. Just to make this video easy to digest as well, I am going to do one side of my face with all the lifting techniques, and I am going to leave the other side just as normal. So as I said, I'm going to start off with soap, with doing my brows, and I do just use bog standard pear soap. Just get some sort of water in a spray bottle or setting spray, spritz some water on your soap and just get your soap a little bit wet. Rub your spoolie in there and just load it up with soap. That's the easiest way. Just get in there and just get the soap on the spoolie. The spoolie is now fully coated in soap. I'm just going to literally put this soap through my brows. It looks really scary because it's white, but it doesn't dry white, it dries clear. So that's not something you need to worry about. So you literally just want to coat your brow with the soap. If you feel like it's not wet enough, it should feel quite wet. You just want to spray a little bit more water into your soap and then just go back in with your spoolie. I like mine quite upwards. I do like them quite spiky. And just shape the arch of my brow a little bit just so it doesn't look too sticky outwards. I'll just like kind of go in and just curve it down a little bit. Obviously you want this tail end to be brushed up as possible. I tend to brush it outwards rather than upwards. Obviously that'll look a bit silly. I like to go in with the other side of the spoolie and I'll just wipe off the excess soap and just flatten the brow hairs to my actual face. Just want to go around your brow really gently and just wipe away any of that excess soap. You can do this with a cotton pad or an earbud, but I do think sometimes when you press down on it too hard, it does alter the shape of the brow hair, so you do have to end up going back in with your spoolie and just reshaping it anyway. Happy with the shape of the brow and how the hairs look. So as you can already see, just by looking straight on, this side of my eye is a lot more lifted than this side. The space here is now larger, so there's more space here to pull out our makeup and our eye makeup. This side is a little bit closed, so I'm just gonna brush through this eyebrow. I'm not going to brush the hairs up exactly, but I am just going to put a little bit of this through them just so that they're sort of even, but also just so you can see the difference between the two sides. Also put a little bit of soap through that brow, but I've not concentrated on getting those hairs really straight. I've just put a little bit of soap through just to give them a bit of texture to make them look a little bit more fluffy. So my next step now, I am just going to carve my brows out with a little bit of concealer. I am using a concealer that's lighter than what my foundation is going to be. Obviously you want the brow bone to look quite bright and lifted. The best way to make something look lifted is to add brightness to it, so that's why I'm using a concealer that's going to be lighter than the colour of my skin. Putting some on a flat brush, and I'm literally just going to underline my brow and just really map out the shape. It's really important to make sure that you straighten the tail out as much as you can, because this is what will give you that lifted look. Gone under that brow and I've really carved it out and made sure that that arch isn't too high but also is straightening out the end of my eyebrow. You can see that this tail comes down a lot further and this one comes outward. That's what you want to try and achieve. The straighter your brow looks at the end, the more space you will have at the end of your eye. Primed my eyelids. I've just carved underneath the brow and then just covered the rest of my lid with concealer. Go in now with my brow pencil, and I'm just going to make a few small brow hairs just to even out the brow and just to make it look a little bit more defined. I literally just like to put a few brow hairs in the front, and honestly, like the tiniest strokes on the arch of my brow. I don't want to make the arch too high because I want my brow to have that straighter appearance. The tail of your brow, you don't want to start putting brow hairs like down here. If anything, you want to sort of pull them outwards so it gives that straighter look. That's both my brows filled in. So as you can see, this side is definitely a lot more open towards the end of my brow, and that's what you want. You want that space towards the outer edge of your eye. I'm going to move on to eyeshadow. Now, I don't ever really use proper eyeshadow to do my to make that definition in my crease. I always just use bronzer. If you're not somebody who's really big into eyeshadow, you only need a bronzer and like different sized brushes. The brush, the more blown out it will look, which is what you want to start with, and then you obviously want to move down to a smaller brush. Go straight in with my bronzer, and I'm just going to apply it here for the most part, and here, and then I'm going to really blow it out and make it really winged out. I always do my eyes first as well, just because I feel like it is much easier to sculpt the outer edge of the eye. Once you've already done your eye makeup, you can then go in with concealer and whatever after. That's just a personal preference though. Some people find it much easier to do it the other way around. Whatever you find easier is what I would go with. Got the bulk of the eyeshadow in that crease there, and I'm just going to match it up at the bottom here, and I'm really going to wing this up and out because that sweeping effect will make the eye look much more open. So you just want to really focus on getting that really blown out and really blended. Pull up from the side as much as you can and just make it look like a swooping effect is what you want to make. Try and focus the colour on the outer corner of my eye. Leave this part blank. It keeps this inner corner much brighter and much wider. Both my bronzer applied in both eyes. As you can see from the left side, I've literally just put it in my crease and blended it out just to give like quite a soft focus effect. But obviously on this side, we've really focused a lot of the colour on the outer corner, and we've really focused on winging it out because obviously, as I've said about 10 times, that's what gives us that lift. Go back in with the bronzer on a smaller brush. Now obviously this is a smaller brush, it's more dense, so that's going to create like a denser colour. You're just going to put this right in this corner here just to give that a little bit of definition, but I'm not going to put it through the crease. I'm literally just keeping that on the outer corner. Again, winging that out and just making sure that all of that colour is kept on this outer corner. I'm going to take a small angled brush and I'm just going to dip into this dark brown shade here in this Tarte palette. I'm not taking it all the way in. I'm literally just going to add it here to help add to this winged out effect. The trick here is to not start right at the corner of your eye, because if you do that, you will automatically just drag the eye down. Then you want to start towards the middle of your eye and drag the product backwards and literally just stop right in the centre where your pupil starts. Use a dark brown eyeshadow. I just think it's softer, and if you do make a mistake, you can just blend it away and start again. I find it easy to just start right here and go backwards right into the middle of your eye. Just fill that gap there, and then you want to just keep your eye open straight and just do a really slight wing and just connect it up there, and then I'll dip back in and I'm just going to add a tiny little bit on the outer edge there just to line it up. So as you can see, if you look really closely, my line does not start right at the corner of my eye, it starts just above it. If you start your eyeliner right at the corner of your eye, it's going to close your eye down because it's going to drag the wing down, your eye droop, and you don't want that liner to follow the natural lift that we've created with the brow and the definition with the eyeshadow. Then what I will do is I will just take that concealer brush that I used to carve my eyebrows out with no extra product on the edge of it, and I'm just going to sweep it underneath the wing and just give it a tidy up, just so it's got a nice sharp point. So I think it's actually quite a dramatic difference so far. You can see that this eye is very much so lifted, and this eye is quite, we've still got lift, but not as good as we would like it to look, is it? Now that's all we're going to do for the eyes. Now with mascara, I like to really focus on the outer edge to get as much of a curl to line up with that liner as much as I can. You can add a lash. I'm not going to in this video, just because I want this video to be easy to follow, and obviously I know that lashes aren't the easiest thing to put on if you are a beginner. This mascara I'm using is the Essence Lash Princess, and I love this. It was literally like £2 or £3 from Wilko's. So I'm just going to really make sure that that outer edge has got as much product on it as possible. I personally feel like this is quite a dramatic difference. This side is very closed, there's a lot of definition on the inner corner. This side is very lifted, and it's just much more of that sculpted kind of look. So I'm going to go in my foundation now. So I managed to get foundation in my hair in the meantime. I've just really quickly put that on, just so we've got a base to work with. I'm going to go in with my concealers now. I'm going to just grab your flat brush again that you use to carve your eyebrows out with. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the lighter concealer first, and I'm just going to put this right in my inner corner here, because I really want to brighten that side up. And I'm also going to just drag this down my nose on this right hand side, just to give a bit of a reverse contour if that's something that you're looking for. Stop it there, and then going to grab a little bit of my darker concealer, and I'm just going to put that directly underneath, just to blend out that slightly lighter shade in with my light concealer. And I'm going to put a blob of this right here, and I'm just going to drag this out slightly up towards my temples, kind of what the sort of shape you should be looking for. And then just going to go in on the other side and do my concealer how I used to do my concealer. Shape that you're left with. So what you want to do then is you can either use a sponge for this, or you can use a brush. I personally use a brush, just feel like it's much easier to get that proper blend with it without taking away too much of the product. Literally just going to pat over this, very slight circular motions, to try and just blend out that line on the nose first, and make sure it's blended on the inner corner. And then with this side, you just want to slightly drag it under, and then just tap all the way out towards the temple, and just make sure that that line is straight as possible. I'll then go in with this brush sort of tilted a little bit, and just make sure that I'm really blending that line. I don't want this to look like a really stark, obvious line. That's not something you're looking for. So you just want to make sure that that's really nicely blended. Just buff along the edge to make sure it's not a proper obvious line. Just make sure that that's all blended into my foundation. This side still looks great, and if this is how you like to do your makeup, there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. But for those of you that are looking for that snatch, this is a technique that you need to do. You need to put it in the inner corner, on the outer edge, and just make sure that that is really following the shape of that eyeliner and the eyeshadow that we've done. A bit of powder once you've done that, just to set that concealer. And I'm just going to gently reinforce that shape there, and just make sure that the concealer's all set. Now I'm just going to start on my bronzer. Now the placement of your bronzer is really important. You just want to load your brush up, not too much product, and you literally want to hold it really far down the end of your brush, so you've got that really loose circular motion technique. Start really high up, almost just above your ear, and you just want to do really light circular motions right at the top. And you don't want to take this bronzer below your cheekbone. You want to keep it all above and all towards your temples, just to make sure that it's giving you that lift. Then for the forehead, you just want to go around your hairline and just dab it in, and just basically just blend it in with what you've done here, so you don't look too pale. So you just really want to keep that bronzer as high up as possible. The further you bring this down wider, it's going to make your jaw look, and the less snatched it's going to make your face look. Obviously, the main process is just to keep lifting everything. So I'm just going to do the other side how I would have normally done it. As you can see, I've kept all of the colour at the top of my cheekbone as much as I can. That's where you need to keep it if you want to have your face look lifted. It needs to be kept as high up on the cheekbone as possible towards the temples. Concept works exactly the same with blusher. I'm just going to go in with this NARS palette, and I'm just going to use this middle shade because this isn't too far of a cry from a bronzer shade really. It's got that warm undertone. So you just want to load your brush up, and this works exactly the same way. If you put the blush in the middle of your face here, it's going to make your face look wider rather than make it look lifted. Blusher essentially just needs to go in the same place as the bronzer did. And the blusher is on, you just want to go back in with your sponge, and we are just going to slightly cut under the cheekbone a little bit, but not too much, because I don't like to bake. I feel like the whole point of this look is to look blown out and soft and naturally lifted, rather than really straight lines that are too sculpted. Cut right underneath that as high up as I can get it without actually taking away from it, and then obviously this side I'll go right underneath. We'll just lightly buff the edge of that, just so we don't have any harsh lines. That is the basis of the face makeup done. The main focus of your product should be on the outer edge of your face. That is how you get that sculpted look. Same with the eyeshadow, same with the eyeliner, same with your mascara, and obviously your brows. All of these little things will help to make your face look more sculpted. I am going to put a tiny bit of something just there, just to give it that little brightness and openness. So as you can see from that, this side is a lot more lifted, and it's obviously, there's quite a drastic difference, I personally feel. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish my lip liner, how you normally do it. So if you want to make your lips look a little bit more, it's hard to lift your lips really, but obviously I would just always recommend starting from the outer corner and going over, rather than starting from the inner corner and coming down. So there we have it. That's my take on a sculpted, lifted facelift with makeup kind of tutorial. If it wasn't too hard to follow, obviously any feedback is greatly appreciated. These videos are a little bit more difficult to film than normal clothing haul videos, but I really enjoy doing makeup. It's my main passion really, and probably one of the reasons why I started this channel. So I hope you can see from my face that there's a big difference between the two sides. So I hope that made sense. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye guys.